Welcome to Mental Fitness. You might be wondering, what is mental fitness? Mental fitness is a program I developed in 2021 after some of the things that I saw teaching online and as a result of some of the things I've seen over my entire teaching career. Most recently, a lot of young people, and for me, young people is anybody under the age of 25. Lots of young people have been experiencing extremely high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Now, I am not a doctor, so I'm not proposing a cure with this program. What I am, though, is a very experienced teacher, and over the time that I've spent counseling students, coaching students, and teaching students, there are some things that I have used that have consistently worked. And so what I'd like to do at this point is share with you some of my strategies for how we can possibly address some of our mental health needs. Again, if you have serious mental health issues, you need to see someone professional for this. But for those of us who are just struggling a little bit and maybe just need a little bit of help, I think that some of the things I'm going to share with you will help. Let's start with what the definition of mental fitness is, in my opinion. To me, mental fitness is your ability to connect your emotions, your thoughts, and how you feel about yourself all together. And so I come up with 5 areas of awareness that I think we can use to improve our mental health, which I'm calling mental fitness. Our first area of awareness focuses on our senses, and so I call it sensual awareness. That's sensual awareness. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's using our ears, our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our sense of touch to become aware of what's going on. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Have you ever felt nervous? Have you ever felt uncomfortable? Have you noticed that during those times you either experience your body being warmer than usual or you experience being colder than usual? That's your body letting you know that something is wrong. And so if we can learn to tune into our senses, they're usually right and we need to pay attention to them. Many of us, as we've gotten older, don't pay as much attention to our senses. Probably the one we use the most, obviously, is our vision, because we're constantly looking at videos and playing games and things like that. Some of us are using our hearing because we're into music, but many of us forget about our sense of smell. We forget about how to use our sense of feeling, our sense of touch, paying attention to those signals we're getting from our body. And so sensual awareness is our first area of awareness that we need to pay attention to. Once we can get to a point where we're back tuned into our senses, the next area of focus would be our emotional awareness. Now, many of us are going to think, well, I am in tune with my emotional awareness. Well, I would challenge you to think about if your senses are connected to your feelings. And here's what I mean. Again, I'll give you another example. So when we talk about emotional awareness, I think most of us are really familiar with things like anger, sadness, happiness, and things like that. But have we really given any thought to how that makes us feel physically? Yeah, I think we know how it is afterwards, but sometimes we can feel that coming on. Some of us know that when we start to get angry, maybe we get a little warmer, okay? When we start to get angry, our eyes start to water. Again, the goal here is to connect things that we already have and try to help ourselves see some of these issues before they get there. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time you're already angry and punching something or crying and you can't stop, it's not too late, but it's going to be much more difficult. So what I'm suggesting here is that if we can tune into our senses, tune into our emotions as they are beginning to change, then maybe we can give ourselves a better opportunity to not feel so bad or feel so uncomfortable. So we develop our sensual awareness. And then we develop our emotional awareness. The next thing that we're going to talk about is what I call cognitive awareness. This is the one you work on the most at school. When I was a teacher, my students would say all the time, Mr. Payton, what do we need this stuff for? When are we ever going to use it? That's cognitive awareness. The cognitive awareness is, what are those academic skills that we really need to be successful, contributing citizens and adults? Well, obviously we know we need to be able to read and write. The question is to what extent, at what level? And I'll answer that for you. You should be able to read well enough that what you read, you understand. That may sound like a basic thing, but just stop and think about that for a second. When you go to a restaurant, do you always understand all the food that's on there? Probably not, because it's probably from another culture and you're not aware of that culture. As much as you may love Italian food, you probably order the same thing every single time. But if you have a strong level of cognitive awareness, just based on what you know about things you've studied in school and what you've learned, you can at least figure out what it is that's going on there. Cognitive awareness really focuses on when we're shopping. Okay, a lot of us go shopping, we buy things online, and if you don't have those good math skills, you may miss out on a deal because a discount is one way, and because you can't figure out the discount, you just say forget it. And yes, you have calculators, of course you do. What I'm getting at, though, is that there are some basic academic skills that we need to be successful. And I'll take it a step further. Ask someone that you know that struggles academically, and I will pretty much guarantee you that they're probably a more frustrated person than the average person. Just think about what it would be like to drive around or walk around all day and not be able to read any signs, not be able to understand what people are talking about. That's frustrating. That's going to affect your mental health. So let's recap here for a second. We're going to pay a little bit more attention to our senses. We're going to make sure that our emotions, that we pay attention to them before they get to a place where we can't deal with them. And then we're going to use these skills that we build in school to allow us to have a better, safer mental health. Number 4, cognitive awareness. Cognitive awareness basically is goal setting. You might think, well, what's the point of goal setting? How can that help me with my mental health? Well, think about it. If every day you set yourself just a small goal to get something accomplished, that's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel successful. And it's going to give you something positive to focus on that day. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in or out of school, and if all day long you just feel like you're losing, that's going to affect your mental health. And it's going to damage your mental fitness. Okay? Remember, when you're an athlete or someone who's trying to get in shape, your fitness is your ability to operate, your ability to complete certain tasks. For some of us, it's jumping. For some of us, it's running, throwing, catching. Well, mental health is the same way. Our ability to deal with failure, our ability to deal with loss, our ability to deal with change. All of these areas of awareness are connected. So if we can get our senses together, our emotions together, our academic skills together, and then start to set ourselves some small goals, we'll start to see some success. And we'll be healthier and better people. And finally, and this one is last for a reason, our self-awareness. Some of you are in such a hurry to identify who you are. And I'm not just talking about our identification in terms of gender, because that's a hot topic right now. No, I'm talking about who you are as an individual. Are you a leader or a follower? Are you an engineer or an artist? Are you a sister? Are you a brother? Are you someone's child? Are you a Thea or a Theo? We have so many different roles. And as we grow, those roles change. My point here is that our self-awareness a lot of times can make us very down, make us very sad, and make us feel like we're not where we should be. Many of us find our self-awareness in other people. For the athletes out there, we find our self-awareness in a team. For those who are family-oriented, we find our self-awareness with our grandpa, our grandma, our mom, our dad, in the roles that we have in the family. For others, we find our role in the social circles, whether it's social media or just being out and about. And I want to challenge you today to try to determine, or at least start to think about who you are without any of those things. When you're just in your room by yourself, who are you? Not what your name is, who are you? What things are important to you? What are your interests? That's where it starts. Ladies and gentlemen, many people don't figure out who they are until they're well into their 30s sometimes, and that's not a bad thing. The goal is to continue to evaluate, continue to take chances, try new things, and you will see that who you are is going to change over time. I am absolutely not the same person I was when I was a little kid. I will say, though, I'm generally going in the same path, though, but I am a different person. I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. I was basically just being a knucklehead, but I just, I was fighting things that I didn't need to fight. And what you'll learn if you'll take the time to look at yourself. So put your phone down for a second, turn off the TV for a second, and even turn off your music for a second, and just stop and think. What are you interested in? What types of things are important to you? Start to take a look at, come up with a couple of words that describe who you are. Remember, not what your name is, but who you are. So, that's mental fitness. Mental fitness is the opportunity to improve. I have a number of activities. I have a number of strategies. And if not what I'm sharing with you, find something else. Absolutely. I'm not the only person out here who's trying to improve mental health. I just thought that I might as well jump into the fight as well. That's who I am. Anybody who's ever had me as a coach or a counselor or a student knows that I'm constantly trying to solve problems. And the biggest problem going on right now, in my opinion, is mental health for young people in particular. Again, everyone, let's be clear. Mr. Payton is not a doctor. If you have some serious issues, you need to find someone professional to help you. But if you're just looking to try to make some improvements, if you just want to try to find some way to do things better, then consider the idea of mental fitness. Consider sensual awareness, emotional awareness, cognitive awareness. Okay? Consider those things. Consider objective awareness, where we're looking at our goal setting. And finally, become self-aware. Know what's a no for you. Meaning, if there's a situation that you already know is not for you, just let it be no. And whatever ridicule or whatever people don't think you're cool, oh well, but you know that's not for you. That's part of mental health, is knowing what situations you should and shouldn't be in. I hope this was informative to you, and I thank you for watching. Take care and be well.